Hey YouTube, my name is Nicole Taylor. It is so lovely to meet you. If you have been following me on Instagram, you know that I am working on a project that I'm calling 180 Days of Creation. Essentially, though I've always been passionate about art and writing and any sort of creative activity, I stopped prioritizing it in my everyday life, which led to me spending a lot of time doom scrolling, a lot of time just watching TV and doing things that don't really light up my life the way that creating does. So I'm forcing myself to create something every single day for 180 days and then post it. No matter if I think it's good, if I like what I've produced, because the idea here is that I'm just getting back into creating something every day and making sure that I'm really being intentional with the way that I spend my time. One of my favorite parts of this whole project has been narrowly avoiding burnout by trying to incorporate different art forms into my daily creations, which is exactly what I'm doing here today. I have been bullet journaling since probably 2017 or so, and I've been obsessed with all of the YouTube bullet journal creators like Amanda Rach Lee, Jashi Corin, like all of the girlies that you know and love. I've been watching them too. But I've never fully sat down and filmed my own bullet journal setup, despite doing it every week, every month, every year since 2017. So that's what we're doing here today. I am finally showing off my bullet journal skills wherever they may be. Today, I am taking you with me to set up my October monthly spread. As you saw in the beginning, the background is created by some old book pages that I crumpled up and dipped into some red wine and murky paint water to create this sort of old antique, maybe even burnt aesthetic. And then now I am penciling out the title of October. The font is meant to be inspired by some old-timey calligraphy, but also a little bit of classic Gothic typography. The goal here is to look like something that came out of an old bookstore or apothecary type vibe. After I ripped off the edges around the title, I'm coloring in those tattered parts with a Tombow dual brush pen in the color 879. After that, I am just grabbing my Lido or Leto drawing pen and coloring in all of the letters for October. So I'm going to go ahead and let Video Me finish that up, while VoiceOver Me will meet you a little bit later. All right, I have accumulated quite the amount of paper trash, and honestly, that is just going to keep going the longer I film this setup. So I'm going to stick the title on the top of the left-hand page, and we will get into the true arch nemesis of my bullet journal setups, which is, of course, indecision. I can't tell you how many times I changed my mind and went back and forth on these book pages and where I wanted them to go. I also kept not being able to decide whether I wanted to stick it on with glue or with the double-sided adhesive tape. Honestly, I just did whatever felt best in the moment, which I guess is how you're supposed to do things. All of that time making decisions to get the perfect page layout, and you'll see in just a minute here, I end up covering it anyway, as is the way of life. My typical monthly setups only really incorporate a cover page and a one line a day spread, but for this month I decided to incorporate a calendar layout as well. This month is not quite as busy for me as September was, but with how chaotic September got, I figured it might as well be time to bring back my block calendar into my bullet journal. Now, you'd think after doing the left hand spread, I'd learn my lesson and not spend so much time deciding what book pages should go where on the right side of this spread. But of course not. I'm still going to trial and error my way through it. I had some leftover scrapbook paper from the backdrop of my block calendar, so I decided to add in a pop of that as well. And thankfully, about halfway through the right side of the spread, I remembered that I will be pasting in a notebook page for my one line a day anyway, and decided it does not really matter how the center of this page looks. Last but not least, for the backdrop side of things, I'm ripping up another piece of craft paper to stamp out one line a day. Spilled my ephemera all over the place before finally pasting in that notebook page. My one line a days were my first attempt at forcing myself into intentional creativity because I do consider myself a writer before any other form of artist. And while I think they're doing great and I continue to keep them up, I just wanted something that allowed me to express myself in whatever way I felt like in any given day and still be able to feel accomplished about it. So while I am still writing one line every single day, I'm treating it more of like a one line journal entry than forcing myself to come up with something poetic, and then allowing that creativity to expose itself in different formations, right? Through the different art forms that I'm practicing, through the different hobbies that I'm trying. As much as I am a writer before I am anything else, I'm still just a creative person, and that looks different from day to day. And now that I've pasted in all of my ephemera and still don't feel like it's complete, I am adding just a few pieces of washi tape to wrap up this cover spread. Turning the page, I am now starting my mood tracker along with my habit tracker. These are two common bullet journal spreads that I have not done in I honestly couldn't tell you how long. I don't know if it was just that I was bored of them or they weren't working for me, but I kind of just started doing my one line a days and that's it. And it's been like that probably all year. But I'm super excited to add them back in this month because look at my little ghosties. They're so cute. There was what I thought to be 31 of them. There's actually only 30, so I'll just have to skip one of the days, and that's fine. But I'm going to be coloring each ghost in depending on my mood that day. Mood trackers historically haven't worked for me because I can never decide what emotion I want to put to describe the whole day. You go through so many emotions in a day. So I decided instead of keeping up with a specific detailed range from like anxiety, anger, joy, excitement, all of that sort of stuff, I'm just going to keep it to a positive, a neutral, and a negative, and hopefully that simplifies things up for me. Not sure if you can tell, but I didn't quite think of that idea until a little too late in the setup. So here's me whiting out all of the in-depth emotions that I had initially put out and pasting in a book page along with a just scrap piece of blank paper to add in just that positive, neutral, and negative color coding. Moving on to the right hand side, I am setting up my habit tracker. I'm doing horizontal boxes for this tracker, and each time I do something in that category for that habit, I will color in the box. And so hopefully by the end of the month, I will have just a bunch of black lines for me doing all of the habits every single day. That's how we manifest good behavior on my part. um, to be completely honest with you, at the time I'm recording this voiceover, I have not decided what habits I'm going to be tracking this month. I am unbelievably behind in my reading goal for the year, so reading will definitely be one of them. I think I'll probably include stretching as another one. That's something I used to do every day, but kind of fell off of in the last couple of months. So, your girl is going to get her mobility back and stretch every day in October. Once again, we're manifesting. Comment below what else you think I should be tracking this month. I used to track my water intake, but I find it just a little bit too hard to keep track of how much water I'm drinking and therefore decide whether or not I hit the goal for each given day. So that one doesn't really work for me. But I'd love to hear what you're tracking in your habit trackers, and maybe, just maybe, I'll steal one of them. Or four of them, because I have four more spaces. With the exception of just a couple of stickers, that brings us to the end of my October 2025 bullet journal setup. Thank you all so much for joining me. I am so excited about this YouTube journey, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.